For many months, I woke up with the idea, today is a day that I will take my life in my own hands and start making my dreams come true. So I would start my day writing down some bullet points and make a to-do list. There was one particular bullet point on my to-do list. One that I wrote down every single day. Start working on a video project. But in the end, I couldn't bring myself to brainstorm a video idea. I told myself that it was because of lack of time. I was too busy for filming and for editing. At that point in my life, I was doing my master's degree in criminology, writing my thesis, doing interviews for school, working many hours in a bakery to earn some money, and playing soccer or working out. So excuses enough to not start making that first video right. So I kept procrastinating. A few months later, I graduated and decided that now was the time to focus on making videos. I took the leap and convinced myself that taking a sabbatical year would be the solution to explore the world of filmmaking. A few months into the sabbatical year and still no video. I couldn't set myself to actually take action to achieve my goals. And that's when I knew I had to change something. I had all the time in the world, so why couldn't I get myself to make a video? So before I could stop procrastinating, I first needed to know why it was that I tended to put something off that I dreamed of since I was a little child. That's when I started to do some research. So I took a notebook and I wrote down a few reasons why it was that I didn't make that first video. So for all the people out there having the same problem as me, sit down with me and I'll talk you through 6 reasons why we procrastinate. Before we discuss those reasons why we procrastinate, it's important to know what procrastination is. So I'll give you a short definition of what procrastination is and then we'll get into the video. Procrastination is the act of unnecessarily postponing decisions or actions. Imagine you need to write a paper for school, but instead you find yourself scrolling to Instagram once again. That's what we call procrastination. So how does this process of procrastination work? Well, when we need to get something done, we mostly rely on our self-control and our motivation. Because of certain demotivating factors, for example, the fear of failure or anxiety, we tend to avoid that one thing we need to do. So what are those demotivating factors? First of all, people tend to procrastinate when they don't have any concrete goals formulated. So for example, when you need to write that paper and you write down on your to-do list, write a paper. You should formulate it more as write 500 words every Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday, for example. This makes it way easier to start because you have a concrete plan formulated to achieve that goal. So breaking down big tasks into smaller actionable steps will help you with procrastination. We all have a natural instinct that seeks for instant gratification. We want results as soon as possible. So instead of working on projects that will reward us in the long run, we just scroll through Instagram because that will give us an instant dopamine boost. Besides that, we also sometimes try to convince ourselves that we better do a certain task in the future because it will give us better outcomes in the future. For example, we want to get fit, so we decide that we will get a gym membership. So in our minds, that is a good excuse to not go for a run today and just put your running shoes aside because we know that later on we will go to the gym and we will get a gym membership and from then on work out every day. But this mindset can also lead to long-term procrastination and we could end up never going to the gym at all. So anxiety can be the reason why we procrastinate, and especially when we have fallen into the so-called feedback loop. This means, for example, when you want to make a YouTube channel, but making your first video can make you feel a little bit anxious. So you procrastinate. And when you procrastinate, it makes you feel more anxious. And as you already guessed, this leads to even more procrastination. So in the end, you could never have started making that first video for your YouTube channel at all. This is also what took me so long to make my first video for my YouTube channel, just because I felt too anxious. But hey, this video is the one. This is my first video, so Come on, we did it. We try to make a project as good as possible, but with that comes the fear of failure. What if this project isn't as good as I hoped it to be? You can be so worried of publishing something that isn't perfect that you rework your project over and over again instead of releasing it when it's ready. Or you could even end up taking no action at all. When you feel like you can't handle a task, you are more likely to procrastinate and don't do the task. In this case, we need to make a distinction between external and internal motivating factors. An internal factor for motivation could be, for example, when you are interested in a certain topic for school. So you need to write a paper, so you write a paper on a topic that is interesting to you, so you get good grades. An external factor for motivation is, for example, when your parents want you to get good grades, so they motivate you to study a little bit harder to get good grades. Research has shown that people who are more motivated by external factors are more likely to procrastinate than people who are motivated by internal factors. The last and most obvious reason why we procrastinate is just being lazy. We don't feel like doing what we have to do, so we just decide to not do it. For example, we don't feel like eating healthy, so we decide that we will start our diet tomorrow. We often procrastinate because we prioritize our feelings in the present. So we do things that will help us feel better right away, even though we know that those actions will not help us become a better version of ourselves or help us achieve our goals. So guys, my tip for you is that you first need to know why you procrastinate before you could actually work on it. So just take a moment for yourself, grab a cup of coffee and reflect on why it is that you procrastinate. Write it down in a journal or type it on your computer, doesn't matter, but just reflect on the reasons of procrastination. Next week's video will go a bit further into this topic and we will see a few techniques on how to stop procrastination. So make sure to subscribe and especially hit the notification bell so you don't miss that new video. Thank you for watching and remember, all great things come from small beginnings. See ya!